It's me, Jody Ann. How are you all doing there today? I hope you're doing wonderful. Today's episode is a tarot talk, and we're going to be talking about the third card in the deck. That's right. We're going to be talking about the Empress card. But before we get started, I have a little bit of announcements and a few things for you, my lovies. First off, I want you to know that I have revamped my website. Now, I am the only power behind everything that happens here. It's just me. If you had been on the website, it might have been kind of down or gross for a while, but it's all up and live. And it is at www.jodyanpsychicmedium.com. And I'll put a link in the description and in the show notes. I revamped it because I want one place that you guys can go to get all the stuff I'm doing. Right? Yes, I'm still on TikTok. Please come on over and follow and comment and have some fun with me there. Send me some stuff. I'm still on Instagram. Again, come check that out. Have a look at what's happening there. Drop me a line if you want to chat. I do have the YouTube channel. Go subscribe. Follow it. I drop monthly readings there, and I have, of course, the content, the compendiums to the tarot talks there. But instead of giving you all these different addresses, you can just go to my website and everything is there. Links to all the socials are right at the top. I've got all the show notes are all there on a page, like a blog page there. I've got YouTube embedded right in there. So the YouTube videos are there and they'll link you right over to YouTube. I've got links to the Instagram and to the TikToks, but I don't think those are embedded. Yeah, I can't remember. I did so much I can't even remember. But go have a look over there. There is, I'm going to be starting a newsletter. I'm not sure when I'm going to get that off the ground. I'm a little, not overwhelmed, but I'm just one little witch, so I can only do one thing at a time. I do want to get you guys a newsletter out though. So there will be a way to subscribe to that. And yeah, please go have a look, go check it out. Oh, and you can book a reading with me on there too if you'd like, right? There's pages there. There's a couple testimonials. Yeah, all the services I provide as your lovely witch and card slinger extraordinaire. So go have a look at that. The other little announcement I have, I'm so excited about this and I wanted to share it with you. I live in the Lower Mainland and we have a pagan pride festival. With everything with the plague, it has not been in a live space for a long time, for a couple of years now. And this year, it's back at Deer Lake Park. It's August 13th and I have got a booth. I'm going to be down there. I'm going to be interviewing people. I'm going to be covering the Pagan Pride Festival. So if you are there, please come on down and say hi. I would love to meet you. I know it's a bit ahead, but if you go to the website, it is all there. The list of the different vendors is there. There's going to be public ceremony as always, and just so much wonderful stuff happening. I super love going to this. I've been going for years and years. It's run by some really amazing people, and we are going to have them on the podcast to talk to you about that beautiful celebration. Okay, so that is all my housekeeping, I think. Yes, that's all the housekeeping. So let's get into this card. We're talking about the Empress card. This is the third card. And again, as we work our way through the High Arcana, we're looking at the Fool's journey to enlightenment through this. The Fool meets the Empress. Now, we always talk about traditional and contemporary decks here, and we talk about the art, and we break it all down. I went through so many different cards for the High Priestess. I'm going to try and keep this one a little bit more chill. There will still be the compendium on YouTube where I go through some of my favorite cards and we look at the symbology. One of the things about the Empress card is, of course, traditional. She is in a throne. She is an empress, as the name embodies. She is a adorned, beautiful woman of power. She sits sovereignly over things. And it's kind of neat because it's like a pretty stagnant looking card. Like she's just sitting there royally, regally on her throne, but she embodies so much. She is the mother goddess. And you don't see that too much within the traditional decks, other than the idea that the sovereign takes care of her people, right? And remember, the tarot decks used to be actually drawn. So it would be the woman of the household who commissioned the deck that would be on the deck in the position of Empress. So there's less symbolism in that card than, say, the High Priestess card we were talking about. And you'll see this also when we break down the Emperor. Again, he has his archetypal stuff, but he was always drawn as the head of the household. This couple of the tarot deck are a little bit more, they've always felt a little more sterile to me than some of our other characters that we'll meet. Now, what does she represent? That's what we talk about. We talk about the symbology. Since our traditional decks typically just have her sitting there beautifully, we're going to look mainly to our contemporary decks and how that artwork shows the themes behind this archetype. The Empress is the mother goddess. Oftentimes we will see in this card a round birthing belly of a woman, someone who is with child, or she will be depicted actually carrying a child or having a child in her arms. She's often just, that super curvy, ample, yummy, delicious figure of a mother goddess that is worshipped all over the world. And this card, when it shows up, it talks about fertility, growth, the birthing process, right? Birthing something into life, expansion. And what I want to talk to you about is how when you're reading for yourself or your clients, that this is not always just about being with child. Now, sure, you may draw an Empress card if someone is going to have a baby. In my experience, though, that is rarely how the tarot shows you that a baby is going to be birthed. The baby that is often born with the Empress card is our idea baby, right? You can have so many different ways of birthing that are more than the literal act of giving birth to a human child. So you could have an idea baby. What might that be? It could be a book. It could be an art piece that you're working on. It can be a company you're building. It can be inspiration that's coming to you. All of those things are depicted when we start looking at this Empress card. She represents safety, fertility, expansion. So let's grab some of these contemporary decks and have a look at this amazing archetype. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Wildwood Tarot. And we've brought this one forward before. It's a great contemporary deck. It's super fun to work with. The Empress in this deck is the green woman. And I loved it when I saw this because we've all heard of the Green Man, and he is the Emperor. Oh, you know what? Okay, you know what, loves? I find that as I'm talking about this, I keep bringing up the Emperor. So I'm going to make this a dual action episode. We're going to talk about the Empress and the Emperor as a twosome, okay? So let's dive into the Emperor card really quick and talk about his archetype and what he represents. So he's the head of the household, right? He is an aspect of the divine masculine. He is a ruler. He shows up often in a spread when we are looking at how we show up outside of our home, right? How we embody who we are in the world. He's very closely tied into our ego. Not the negative aspect of the ego, but the who am I? What do I bring to the table? Where does my influence of power begin and end? What is it I have control over in this situation, and what is it I do not have control over in this situation? And what I find really interesting is, like the court cards, the Empress and the Emperor can show up in a spread as their archetypes or as people who hold these roles for our querent or our client. A really neat example of this is I read for family members. And my dear, beautiful niece, I've been reading her cards, well, I don't know, like forever. And my brother always shows up in her spread as the Emperor. So when you're reading for a client, remember there's the message of the archetype of the card, but there's also the message of who embodies that archetype within the psyche and the heart of your client. And it makes perfect sense, right? My niece is a young woman and her father is incredibly important to her. And his point of view on any difficulty or aspect of her life is important. She takes it deeply to heart. And that's why he shows up as the Emperor. Okay, so diving in, let's have a look at the Wildwood Tarot and look at these two archetypes. They go beautifully together. What the artist has done with this deck is made the Emperor the green man, and the Empress is, you guessed it, the green woman. And you can see them as a pair. Now, I had never seen a depiction of the green woman before I got this deck. I think it's super beautiful and super amazing. Both the green man and the green woman are depicted very similarly. He is residing over a cauldron, as is she. Hers has our Sheila Nagig on it, which I think is divinely wonderful. If you don't know who that is, go back to episode 2, all about the triple goddess. They're both actively working on a potion. She has a nice, beautiful belly that you can see. She's curvaceous, so she does embody that mothery kind of feel. And the potion she's working on is white, and it brings to mind, for me anyway, milk. His potion, when you look at the cards side by side though, is darker, and so it brings to mind that kind of yin yang, the complementary energy of these two archetypes. All right, my instinct was right. We need to talk about these two together, because the next set of cards I pulled out is from the Wildwood Tarot, or not the Wildwood Tarot, I'm sorry, it's from the Wild Unknown Tarot. The Empress is a beautiful deciduous tree at night. There's a moon up above her, and you can see her leafiness, and there's this beautiful pink about her. So there you have those themes of life, of regeneration, right? Of growth, of expansion. And guess what the Emperor is? The Emperor is a coniferous tree, and he has a solar eclipse happening in his sky, and it's bright daylight. So again, you have that steadfast steadiness of the divine masculine in the Emperor card, right? The dependableness of that father figure. You have the protectiveness of the branches, and they're big trees, right? So you have that grounded solidity in the aspect of these trees. And I love how the Empress tree is a tree that cycles. She's going to lose her leaves. She's going to flower. She's going to rebirth. Where the Emperor is a coniferous tree and is green all year round. Beautiful set. Okay, let's look at the next two. Okay, so next up, I pulled the cards out of the Book of Shadows Tarot. Now, if you remember from some of my YouTubes, this is a dual deck, right? It has a As Above Tarot, a complete deck all about, it's very higher realm centered. And then the So Below deck is all about here on earth, right? This is a heavily Wiccan influenced deck where a lot of the high arcana card names are changed to actual celebrations. Like there's an in bulk card and there's a Sabbath card in the high arcana. I haven't totally studied this one. I've been playing with it, but I haven't sat down and really studied it. It's a very amazing deck though, or dual deck, or whatever you want to call it. What I find interesting about the So Below deck, which always depicts people kind of in their day-to-day kind of muggly space, is the whole deck is very female-centric. So the Emperor is actually a woman, and the Empress is also a woman. The Emperor shows a businesswoman. She's in front of her computer. She is hustling. She's on her cell phone. She's got like a cup of coffee and a little pen in her hand. She's super cute. Again, remember we talked about how the Emperor is all about the realms that we control, right? What is within our grasp? What is outside of our grasp? It's about embodying power. And in this realm down here, a lot of our power is connected to who we are outside of our house. So the Emperor in this is showing that. Now, if I pulled this card, I would read it a little differently if I had pulled, say, that tree card in the other deck. With this one, I'm going to be looking at really fiery, earthy business realms around my clients, right? Talking about where they are in the world, where their goals are, and knowing that the supports for what they want is there. Does that make sense? Then when I look at the Empress card, it's so beautiful. It's actually tinted very green, right? The color of life, the color of Gaia, the color we associate with growth and birth and earthy motherness. And it has a mother. She's not depicted in that super curvaceous, voluptuous, bursting with pregnancy mother. It's a mother in a garden, all her garden tools around her, but she's not just planting seeds. Beside her is her child who has skinned their knee while playing with a ball. And so she's mending, she's putting a band-aid, she's healing that babe. So it's a really beautiful day-to-day depiction of how we do embody the divine mother, right? We tend to our gardens, we tend to our friendships, we tend to our families, we heal the sick. It's a really beautiful depiction. This is such a neat deck. I do enjoy pulling it out and looking at it. And then when you go to its counterpart in the As Above deck, which is all about those high realms and those higher frequencies that are happening parallel right along with ours, you've got the Empress is straight up called the goddess, and the Emperor is straight up called the god. And you have a depiction of a Pan style god, right? A Pan or a Kronos. He's got those beautiful curved horns. He is adorned with a halo, and then the crescent moon is above him. He's in animal skins. He just looks exactly as you would think a pagan god should. And the goddess shows the maiden, the mother, and the crone. Together, they have a big plate of fruit, and in front of them is a bunny. So it makes you think of spring, definitely, and Ostara, and it has the triple goddess, crescent moon, full moon, crescent moon, right on there. What I find interesting is the depiction of the crone is a photograph of their ancestor. She's not physically there in form. But I just think it's quite beautiful. Okay, and we're going to pull one more just for fun. I got another new tarot deck, and it is called the Anatomy. What is it called? Let me read it. The Antique Anatomy Tarot. And I'm going to do an unboxing on this one whenever... Like everything, babies, I keep having all these ideas, but I am not doing them all as fast as I want. I do the podcast along my muggle job, so little by little, things will grow. This one is the Antique Anatomy Tarot, and I do want to do an unboxing on it when I start putting deck reviews up on the YouTube, because it's all skulls and anatomy. So I'm going to pull the Empress and the Emperor out of here. I've only glanced through this deck a couple times, so this is going to be kind of like a firsty first for us, okay? I'm not sure how I would even read these cards, but as a collector's item, I had to have them. Wait till you see these on the YouTube. Okay, so the Empress is a female form, right, on the bottom. And then the top is also a female form, but it's the skeletal female form. It's really hard to describe. And then the Emperor is the same thing exactly, except a male form. And they do have all these beautiful little fig leaf type vines going around them. There's no way I could possibly describe these. Thank goodness, go to the YouTube channel. It's going to be embedded in the show notes, loves. But go and check it out because these are very, very cool. So if I was reading these, though, I think what I would do mostly is I would stick with the archetypal meaning of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. I think this deck, when I do start working with it, probably only with friends and family because it's super weird and collectory and arty, I think I would only read these kind of based on the traditional meanings of each card because the artwork is so stylized. All right, so there you have it. Breaking down the Emperor and the Empress at the same time. I think it's neat the way this episode evolved. I plan to do these cards individually, but because you cannot really separate the divine masculine from the divine feminine, we need both parts in order to all rise together. Neither is more important, neither the divine feminine nor the divine masculine. And remember, we embody all of these energies, no matter what our meat suit is made of, right? These are divine energies. These are spirit energies and really open and available to everyone. I think that comes across clearly when we look at the Book of Shadows Tarot, where pretty much every single person in that deck, in the So Below deck, is a feminine person. Whether we're depicting a traditionally masculine archetype or not, we are all embodying them. So that means, my fellas in the earbuds, you can embody the nurturing, growing, expansive energy of the divine feminine, just as much as us sisters can embody that archetypal, authoritarian, masculine energy. So whether you identify as masculine or whether you identify as feminine, all of these energies are available for you. So my lovelies, it was so good to have you here with me today. I look forward to seeing or hearing or talking to you again. I don't know. Anyway, please head over to the website. It is www.jodianne, Jodianne, psychicmedium.com. And I will see you soon on another witching half hour or so. Oh my god, I am. Ugh, I don't like the way that comes out. The Empress, I'm just trying to find this card. I just had it too. Where would I put it? I just totally went blank. Well, I guess that's the end of the episode then.